this lamp that keeps burning out the bulbs. Just can't help it. So here we go. Let's see if it works. Yeah, I see myself. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and stuff else. Glad you're with me. I got a great article at the end that you don't want to miss, right? Okay. So let's get right to the silly stuff because I haven't had any silly stuff. Oh, this isn't going to work. It never works. Let's see. I got to set up the right properties here, and it always changes on me. Let's see if that's, nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Okay, we'll give it a go. And let's hit this button. Maybe that'll help it. Yeah, that helped it. Okay, here we go. Oops, I got to hit OK, I think. Okay. Well, we'll chop all this out. On the podcast anyway. Here we go.
Riders, wanderers on the road of life. The journey is why they ride. When the road is all you need, there is no destination.
I'm actually just going to get a nice coffee.
Well, she may have a destination this one time, but
I usually have a destination.
Yeah, but most of the time her destination is
Nope, just the coffee shop.
No matter why you ride, Progressive has you covered with protection starting at $79 a year.
Because she's a biker.
Please don't follow me in.
Please don't follow me in. They always have these little zingers in there. I just love. What would I do without the Progressive ads? I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know have anything to waste your time with. Anyway, and that's you're nodding. I hear you nodding, which reminds me I didn't launch my message tracker here. Okay, I got it now. Now you can message me in the middle of and distract my attention, which brings us to consumer attention. Measuring consumer attention is significant. Why? How important is consumer attention? 2/3 of marketers surveyed says it's very important. Okay? Why? This is really great. The popularity of smartphones has increased the likelihood people are dividing their attention among different media channels. Second screening or thumbing a smartphone screen while watching TV has been well documented. So anyway, in this environment, marketers and agencies are looking for more indicators that consumers are paying attention to them and to the ads, which we're not. As best we can, we block them out, which is what I did here. Okay, just think that's a good argument for mail because you got to look at it. You can't throw it away unless you look at it. And you may not have to look long. You better get that return address right and put a stamp on it. But you have to look at it. Okay, this is a long article by Adriana Lee at Yahoo and 11 to 13 minutes. So we're just going to take some of the high points. User tracking is dead. The bell tolls for thee. Okay, so anyway, oops. I got to hit these buttons. You have no idea how hard this is. Apple's launch of anti-tracking and similar stuff coming for Android. Google has a 2-year plan of Privacy Box, and their goal is to give consumers privacy, but not wreck their $200 billion advertising business. So they're trying, and Yahoo is doing ID-less contextual tracking. In other words, you looked at a picture of the soccer match, so maybe you like soccer. Or maybe your kid's playing on the team and you couldn't care less about soccer. You know, that's the trouble. Contextual doesn't have context. You don't know why I'm looking at it, right? I mean, I still get ads popping up for wedding dresses because my wife borrowed my computer to look at wedding dresses with my daughter in 2017. 5 years later, right? It's like, are you kidding me? So, never mind. Okay, also buying more with their cell phones, smartphones. I hate calling them smartphones because they're so dang stupid. And they're breaking 44% of all e-commerce in this market in the U.S. sales alone. Okay, so my kids do that. They buy on their cell phones. I never do. It's too hard to hit the buttons, especially on some new. They don't use new retailers. This is a real death knell for retail because if you don't make it so I can one-click shop, you're dead on a smartphone. I'm not putting my credit card in on a smartphone. The chances of me getting it right on 3 or 4 tries are almost none. Okay, but when Apple started adding their tracking, 96% adopted it. Only 4% let themselves be tracking. And Google's planning on doing something similar, and they hold 70% of the global smartphone market. Okay, they may take a more nuanced approach because they win and lose at the same time. Whereas Facebook, oh my gosh, and here, this is really interesting. Channels that relied heavily on third-party data, social programmatic, third-party, bad data, data that says, oh, you went to Facebook, so you must be a socialite, may need to move up the funnel. This is from Margot Conrose of that's of Saki. No, there was somebody else up here from Belardi. I wanted to call him out because, hey, cool. Belardi is they do a lot of catalogs and stuff, but I can't find them. Let's see if I can find them. This is, you see why I highlight everything? Anyway, not only did Zuckerberg amount to 10 billion this year, but their valuation went from $1 trillion down to 565 billion, which incidentally keeps them below the $600 billion monopoly threshold, which is kind of silly. I had a friend who got a stainless steel screw business. There were 2 competitors that sold mainly to the boats and sailboat, saltwater sailboat market, and they bought both competitors, and so they had a monopoly. Did they have a monopoly? Absolutely. It sure wasn't a $600 billion monopoly. It actually made a nice little business. Did anyone care that they had a monopoly? No. And did they gouge everybody? No. It worked out for everybody. But monopolies can be very small if you're the only game in town. Okay. So, great article, but the biggest risks may not be with targeted brands, which seem to be adapting, but with the tech platforms themselves. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Okay, this was an article in Forbes. I always like to read Forbes because I feel like they have credibility as a news source. Maybe not. This is from Shamir, and it's just awful. He's the CEO and chairman of Touch Bistro. How do restaurants win in local marketing? And I, sometimes to see if I want to read the article, I'll type the word mail and see what it comes up. 10 times it came up in here. Okay, so first he starts out with how difficult and expensive it is to start a restaurant, and it's expensive. And a lot of people, he says, are spending on the wrong things. Shamir, you might want to just stick to what you know instead of talking stupid about mail. So let's dive down into the stupid. Oops, where's my highlights? Let's see. He had 3 big points on mail. Okay. He said 20% of ad spend goes into mail, and I may not have updated my I make these things. But he said one is you can't differentiate. He said, here's his 3 points. Coupons can be cheated. Almost all restaurant coupons are not for cash. Those days are gone. Nobody does that. It's buy one, get one free. Buy an entree, get an entree of equal or lesser value. Okay, that's the coupon. That's what everybody uses in restaurant business. Or free dessert or something. Free glass of wine, something. Something that's along with your purchase. We don't give cash. So don't think that you can just put it in the cash drawer and pocket the coupon value in cash. Come on, Shamir, get real. But this is really bad. Direct mail offers no way to differentiate new customers from returning ones. Well, first of all, if it's a new restaurant, there only are new customers, right? So Shamir, you booted that one. Mailers are expensive. Yeah, but what's the ROI? Okay. And you can't capture the moment of intent, right? All data is historical, and so is digital. It's all digital. It's all, the fact that I'm looking for a restaurant doesn't mean, and the fact that you put yourself right in my face on my cell phone, restaurants near me, does not mean I'm going there. What you want is pre-intent, and that's what mail gives you, okay? Send me something that I'm going to put in my wallet or put on the refrigerator with a magnet. That's what you want. You want pre-intent. So the next time we decide to go out, we remember, oh yeah, there's that new restaurant. Anyway, this is so bad I can't even talk about it. Forbes, if you're gonna trash mail, get at least run it by somebody who knows something about mail. And you can, if it's an existing restaurant, you can clearly differentiate your existing customers because you have their names if you've collected them. Now maybe you haven't, in which case, but how can you in digital? Yeah. Give me a break. Digital is half the tracking and 100 times the fraud. Anyway, Patrick Carroll, excellent article. Better dive into this one for e-commerce brands. And he starts with using Shopify's report that outlines the future of e-commerce. And I will post that at wdma.org. Become a subscriber, and you will get your hands on that article. Okay. Although when I tried to download it, a bot kept coming up telling me how much they appreciated me, and so I finally just PDF'd the site. But I do have it. Right now, now we're going to get into digital, and it doesn't even get into the fraud, for heaven's sakes. Advertising costs are skyrocketing across platforms. Retail sales have jumped 300% since 2014, but as marketers increase their digital budget, they're getting less and less for it. Okay? So think about that. Oh, I just ran out of disk space. And it's all just old recordings, so I'm not getting... This one is going to have to be up on YouTube, and that's it. So we better not say anything naughty. Okay. So marketers increase digital ad budget. They may be getting fewer ads for it. It's a crowded space. Acquisition costs continue to rise. And I saw one article, I think from Bellardi, actually, that said that digital ads had gone up over 200% since the first of last year, almost 300%. So sales went up, ad costs went up. Direct mail has the unique ability to establish trust and persuade customer behavior. It also produces legendary ROI. So put that in your pipe, Shamir. Okay, and then there are some case studies where this is an e-commerce meat and seafood delivery brand. Do they just deliver, or do they actually sell it? There are delivery brands. Anyway, I assume that they took a data-first approach to their mailing lists, creatives, and offers. I thought creatives, I don't know, that's what I call the guys who work in creative. They're the creatives. And if they don't, it's like in my book, I talk about the king saying to the miller's daughter, if you don't spin straw into gold, we're going to kill you in the morning. I said, I'd like to do that with my creatives. Anyway, I'm assuming what data first means, though it could mean almost anything. I'm assuming they mean they're going to finally actually test something and look at the results and see what's working. Because direct mail, unlike basically everything else, can tell you not only who bought, anybody knows that, but can tell you who engaged and didn't buy. As we know, you can't measure attention very well. You can't track. And digital is getting crazy expensive. So third-party cookies, we already talked about them, going away. That just means following you around all over on the internet. We still have first-party cookies. If somebody visits your website, we can send them a mailing piece. You have to have a lot of visitors to make that work out, but you can do it. Although, I was watching a webinar by Mail 2.0, Brad over there, and they said some people just want one lead a day. And, so you can be set up for that. You can be set up for very small, trackable and leads and send them a piece of mail. Okay, there's a contradiction in the tracking, which is that consumers want privacy and they want personalized marketing. Now, when consumers say personalized marketing, you have to be very careful. If you have pre-intent, right, and Andrew Ettinger talks about this a lot, he gets HVAC, heating and air conditioning contractors on a regular mailing program so that when the furnace breaks down, people call, or when the plumbing breaks. It's not if you have a house. It's when. When you have a heating problem, when you have an electrical problem, when you have a plumbing problem. So rather than try to be the unknown vendor on Angie's list among every other vendor, why not be the guy that's actually magnetically attached if you don't have a stainless steel refrigerator? But those, it's low grade stainless. The magnets still stick to a lot of them. Why not be the guy that's on the refrigerator, right? You want pre-intent, because intent is still historical. It's still too late for everybody else that didn't pop up first, and that's up to Angie's list, not up to you. You don't control it. So lean on first-party data, and by that I mean we know stuff about your customers, your real customers. We know the kind of people they are like. Now, this is Patrick Carroll, excellent guy up at Sequel in Minneapolis. He says direct mail lookalike audiences are based on demographics, purchase history, and preferences. You got to be careful with this. I was out at Windham Hill Records. This was that they got the Linus and Lucy guy, George Winston, and a very successful label. And they said to me, we mail men. We profiled our customer base, and it's predominantly males, 35 to 55, high income, high education. Those are the people that like our music. Okay, I like their music. Anyway, but we rent those lists or we get the lookalikes, and it doesn't work. Well, you got to be careful, because just because everybody likes your brand and has a profile, and let's say 100% of them are, but out of the 14 million or whatever there are of those kind of people, only about 1 million of them probably had ever heard their music. So, there's a hidden variable that is we like the music that overtops the geodemographics. And so you got to be really careful about lookalike. Actually, it's far better. Instead of trying to frame lookalike, it's far better to rule out people who aren't going to buy. Right? Who aren't going to like your music. Maybe it's junior high kids or something. We make sure not to mail those. It's almost always easier to figure out who not to mail than it is to mail. And part of the reason is because we know who engaged and didn't buy. We know the non-buyers. We know who didn't want that. And that's actually easier to deal with than it is why someone buys is often a mystery, even to them. But why they didn't buy is oftentimes you have much more data, if you have any. With mail, you do. With the rest of it, you don't. Okay, and last was social commerce. I didn't really understand this. Apparently, there's ways now for influencers and vloggers to sell you stuff, and you can click on the button inside of certain social marketing networks. Add a QR code. This I do understand. Why do we need QR code? We talk about zip. We talk about, we don't need the code. Just use QR. This is my latest thing. Just say adding a QR to a creative package. Everybody knows what that is. There's nothing else called a QR. Just add a QR. But anyway, Patrick, this is like a strong A-, maybe B+, maybe an A+. It's probably because you started with Shopify. It was a little bit difficult, but clearly there are advantages to mail. And thank you, Patrick, for writing something that actually is sensible. And I will have that Shopify report for 2022 in the show notes on wdma.org. Subscription is free. Have a great day. Like and share. Bye-bye.